Welcome to Elder Savvy. I am Anna Siri, the Director of Pembroke Council on Aging. The goal of Elder Savvy is to provide content-related topics from experts in the community to enhance the quality of life for seniors in our community. My guest today is Chris McLaren, Community Programs Director at Old Colony Elder Services, also known as OCES. Chris manages the nutrition, healthy living, family caregiver support, and volunteer programs. With Chris, I'm going to explore who and what OCES is and who and how individuals can access services. Well, welcome, Chris. I will have to say that Old Colony Elder Services is important to Pembroke Council on Aging. Many of our programs are funded or sponsored by Old Colony Elder Services. So maybe if we can just begin with, you can kind of give us an overview of what Old Colony Elder Services is and does.
Sure, I'm happy to do that, and Anna, I'm really happy you invited me to be here because I like talking about Old Colony Elder Services. We're what's known as an aging service access point, and what we do is we provide services and programs to help older adults and individuals with disabilities to live independently. And, for example, some of the things people might need are personal care, homemaking, grocery shopping, laundry, Meals on Wheels, which are home-delivered meals. And we just provide an array of different services with the goal of giving people what they need to stay in their homes.
Wow. So what, in your particular area, is you're the program director?
I'm the Community Programs Director, right.
And so what aspect of Old Colony Elder Services is that?
Well, I'll tell you, but first I want to say we do serve 23 communities. I forgot to mention that in Greater Plymouth County. But my main programs are nutrition, which is Meals on Wheels, and community dining, healthy living, and the Family Caregiver Support Program. I also chair our Cultural Competency Committee, and I'm the executive sponsor of our Employee Wellness Program.
Oh, right. What are some of the goals, the overarching goals of Old Colony Elder Services?
Well, again, we want to be there to help people to stay in their homes and live independently with dignity. But we also are branching out. I know we're called Old Colony Elder Services, but we want to be thought of as a resource for the whole community. Some of our programs are available for people under 60. Most are for people 60 and over, but then we have things that are available for people under 60, and we also have partnerships with community organizations all over our service area. So we want people to call us, and we can refer to other programs if we can't help someone.
If the person is under 60, do they have to be ADA qualified, or is it anybody that's under 60?
Basically, anybody that's under 60 who is having difficulty living independently can call us, and we can refer to programs that might meet their needs if we can't.
It's kind of like our transportation system at the Council on Aging is through GATRA, and so we service seniors and then ADA qualified individuals of any age. And I'm wondering if that's what the way Old Colony Elder Services is going.
Actually, with the programs that we have now that are available for people under 60, they don't have to be ADA qualified. And we really prefer that people not try to pre-qualify themselves, because eligibilities can be very complicated, and our goal is to match people with the right program. So we would prefer that people, if they need help, that they just give us a call, and then other people can figure out if they're eligible or not.
So once they give you a call, what's kind of the process? Okay,
well, first of all, I'll give you our number. It's 508-584-1561, and that gets people right to our information and referral department. And what those folks do is they will take down information, what the individual needs, and any information that they need, such as address, phone number, date of birth, and then they will make the referral internally to the appropriate care manager. And then a person will call the individual who called us and talk about what they need and how we can help.
So the referral can come from the individual themselves. They could come from us at the Council on Aging. Where
We
else
get
do you get
referrals from a
referrals from?
wide variety of sources, from the Visiting Nurses Association, from hospitals, medical practices, relatives. Really anybody can call us on behalf of someone. Now, we are a consumer-driven organization, so if we get a referral and we call the person and they say, I definitely don't want to talk to you folks, that's their choice. We give them information about how they can come back to us if they want to, but we do respect what people want. But basically, anybody can make a referral.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. And just before we get into some of your programs, besides the Meals on Wheels and community dining, Pembroke Council on Aging has also been a recipient of some of your grants that you recently had. We had the Habilitation in Music, and then also, which were programs, the seminar focused on the caregiver.
Yeah.
And then some of the music pieces with the iPods. Are any of those programs still ongoing?
Yes. Now, the Music and More that you mentioned with the habilitation therapy and music therapy, that was a one-time grant that we received from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. And we wrote the grant to support the memory cafes in our service area at that time. Pembroke Council on Aging being one of them. But we also used part of the grant funds for an ongoing music program called Music and Memory. And this is a nonprofit organization that specializes in music interventions for people who have Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. And it's a known fact that many people who have dementia respond well to music. It makes them feel good, calm. It might not bring back memories, but it will bring back feelings. What Music and Memory has done is they've determined that, or they demonstrated that the more individualized the music is, the greater the benefit, by kind of an exponential degree. So what we did with some of our grant money is we sent 4 people for training in the music and memory therapy, which talks about all the different types of music, but then also gets into the technology. How do you get it on an iPod? How do you develop a music library on a laptop? Then we use the funds to purchase iPods, headsets, portable speakers, a dedicated laptop which will hold our music library, then iTunes gift cards, and we started buying music to put on the laptop. We have about 1,000 songs so far. Eventually we're going to have thousands of songs. So then when we're working with a caregiver who's caring for someone with dementia and they're interested in this, we find out what kind of music the person liked, hopefully particular songs, but if not that, then the genre or the era. Then we'll load an iPod with anywhere from 150 to 200 songs and give the whole thing to the caregiver. The iPod, headsets, charger, the portable speaker. We also will give them a list of the songs that are on the iPod. And we give them 90 days to test it out. If there are other songs they'd like, or if they'd like to take some off, we'll do that for them as well.
Yeah.
And so it's
you
great.
teach them how to use it.
Oh,
I think so many people that might be listening to this, the iPods, the whole era is so foreign to them. However, it's so fabulous that this tiny little device can
do
hold
so
much
much.
music
Right.
and just bring a
And
person.
we sit down with the caregiver, go through exactly how it works. We give them written instructions to take with them. And we're always available, if they run into a problem or have a question, and we are really excited about this.
Yeah.
And by the way, in terms of learning how to use iPods, we were almost like a Saturday Night Live skit when we were trying to get this up and running.
My children would say that too.
Yeah, it was definitely fun, and it was a learning experience for us. But we're really happy about this, and it's right now for caregivers who are caring for someone with Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. And if anybody's listening to the show and is very interested, just call our number and ask to talk to someone about Music and Memory.
Okay, so a caregiver whether it be a spouse caregiver, a child caregiver?
Yeah, we define family caregivers really broadly. A spouse caring for a spouse, adult children caring for parents, a friend caring for a friend, relatives. People don't have to live together, they can live separately, but so it's a very broad definition.
Oh, good, good. So, and we have, through you, given out some iPods here in Pembroke, and you know, we've gotten some positive feedback on it also.
Well, what's great, talking about caregiving, is family caregivers, it is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the world. It's very stressful. It can be very hard physically. It's definitely hard emotionally. So, and people with dementia sometimes need really 24/7 care or at least supervision. So we're hoping that this music therapy will give the caregivers a little bit of a break. If it gives their loved one an opportunity to sit down and be relaxed, that's going to help the caregiver tremendously.
I always say to caregivers when I talk to them, they've taken on 3 roles. You know, they're not only doing their job that they did if it's a spousal caregiver, you know, in their marriage, each has their role, and you know, slowly their loved one is not able to do, so they've taken on their loved one's role.
That's right, absolutely.
As well as taken on caregiving.
Yep.
And so it's really now doing 3 jobs, and it can be exhausting. And you know, I think just even, you know, a half an hour of being able to look at the bills while somebody is listening to music. You know.
That's what we're hoping we can do for caregivers.
That's great.
Well, I've got something else to tell you that you might be interested in. We're starting a new education program for caregivers called Savvy Caregiver. It's a 6-week program. It meets 2 hours a week for 6 weeks, and the goal is to help caregivers develop the skills and tools to care for someone who has dementia. And we are very excited about it. Myself and Rochelle Sugarman are going to be the leaders of the program, and we're starting our first class on October 12th at the VA in Brockton. And so we're looking forward to it.
Is it open only to the?
No, it's open. It's open
anybody
to everybody.
That
In fact, I'll email you a flyer tomorrow so that if you have people who might be interested.
Now I know some of the programs you teach, and we'll discuss it a little bit further down, the healthy living, are empirical-based, evidence-based programs. Is this Savvy Caregiver similar format? Yes,
but it's got one very, very big difference, is it's not scripted like some of the other evidence-based programs. We have a training manual, a broad outline, but then we kind of develop our own lesson plan. There are PowerPoint slides that we talk to, but there's a lot that we can bring into it because both of us have had quite a bit of experience working with caregivers and talking with caregivers about how to care for a loved one with some form of dementia. So we're excited about that aspect of it. It's
well, you can sculpt it to the crowd that you
Exactly.
have, as opposed to this is our format and we have to follow that. And
that's
what we do with our Memory Cafe. We have an outline of theme, a plan of what we're going to do for the day, and then we adjust it depending on who is there and abilities, needs, interests, and all of that. I think that's fabulous, that flexibility within that program.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to doing it.
So yeah,
I'll send you the flyer.
So if anybody is hearing this, they can call Old Colony Elder Service and ask about where else you'll be holding these further down the road too.
Yes, yeah,
excellent,
definitely.
Excellent. So going back to your role and your job, one of the biggest parts of your job is nutrition.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about nutrition.
Well, our nutrition program is one of the largest in the agency. We serve approximately 38,000 meals a month, which is a little over 1,600 a day. We have 23 meal sites. Most of them are in councils on aging, but then we also have some meal sites in public housing locations in Brockton. And from the meal sites, those are staging areas for the Meals on Wheels program. And then we also have the community dining, which is it's a communal lunch where people can come, they can get a good meal, and they can socialize and get the benefits of going to the Council on Aging and all the services that you folks offer. Our meals are, we have very tight nutritional standards set by the Executive Office of Elder
Okay.
Affairs. So we have to serve 1/3 of the daily nutrient requirements, high levels of vitamin A and C, certain types of proteins at various times of the week, fresh fruit several times a week, and we have a registered dietitian on staff, and she plans the menu every month to meet those requirements, and then meets with our caterer who prepares all the meals and goes through the menu. And our caterer is really good. You know, he will, the chef will sometimes have ideas of different things to do. Now the caterer cooks over 5,000 meals a day. So it's not just for us, it's for other programs as well.
Oh, okay.
Our dietitian also does in-home nutrition consultations for people who are homebound, and maybe their care manager, they're referrals from our care managers, and they may see that a person's losing weight, or maybe the consumer has a question, you know, they're diabetic, they just don't know how to eat correctly. So our dietitian will go out and meet with the person individually, check out the kitchen to see what their cooking ability is, and come up with a plan.
Yeah.
She also does education programs in the community. You know, she'll go to a council on aging or a public housing location and talk on some topic regarding nutrition.
Yeah. I know for us in Pembroke, we serve OCES community dining 5 days a week. It's $2.50 a meal, which the people that do come say they think it's a great deal.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. We have some regulars that are with us.
Good.
5 days a week, some that come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Our program, our community dining, has been growing over this last year, which is fabulous
I
to
know,
see.
I think it's great. It's wonderful.
And then we send out between 35 and 40 meals a day for Meals on Wheels. 2 routes a day. We've got some fabulous Meals on Wheels drivers. And for me, they're our frontline people. A lot of concerns. We'll come back if, you know, they chat with the residents, if they see concerns or that someone hasn't been feeling well for a while. You know, they'll bring that back to us, and I'll check in, or Susan Shea, our outreach worker, will check in. So it's just like such a great blend.
Yeah, that's one of the real benefits of the Meals on Wheels program, is it's a safety check. It's a way that somebody is checking in on these folks, you know, at least Monday through Friday. And the other thing too is some people who get Meals on Wheels, the only person they see is the person delivering the meal.
Yeah.
So it's a connection to the community that's really important.
Meals on Wheels, are they for seniors only, or
60 and over.
60 and over for
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels? Okay.
And actually, we don't charge for the meals. It's actually a suggested donation.
Yes. I'm
Of
sorry.
$2.50, but it's voluntary. It's confidential. If people are able to donate, that's great. But if they can't, that's not a problem. And if somebody can only donate $1, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So anyway, the nutrition program, it's just a nice program, and it's a lot of fun to manage because there's a lot of moving parts every day, getting 1,600 meals to the right place at the right time.
And I'm amazed at how smooth it runs.
Yeah.
So yes.
But I'll tell you, we could not do it without the volunteers.
Yes.
If most of our meals are delivered by volunteers through the Councils on Aging. In Brockton, we do have employee drivers, because our meal sites are in public housing locations, and it's just harder to recruit volunteers to drive. We have a lot of volunteers in the housing locations who help serve the meals, but in the Councils on Aging, we depend on volunteers.
Yeah. Well, we depend on volunteers too. Our volunteers are fabulous, and not only for, you know, our big volunteer program drivers are our Meals on Wheels drivers, but also the folks that give medical rides to people who need doctor's appointment rides. So yes. Another aspect of your job is the Healthy Living program.
Right.
So what is that?
Well, what we do there is we offer educational programs to help people manage chronic conditions or prevent chronic conditions. And the, I guess you call it the core of Healthy Living, our chronic disease self-management education programs. And there's chronic disease self-management, which can be for any chronic condition, you know, COPD, hypertension, arthritis. Then we have 2 more focus programs. There's diabetes self-management and pain self-management.
And biggies.
Yes, and these aren't medical programs. They're focused on helping people change their behaviors so that they can manage their condition and live the life they want to live and not let their chronic condition get in the way. We also have falls prevention programs. We have a matter of balance and also Tai Chi. And these help people to be more confident in terms of walking, standing, confident in not falling and knowing how to prevent falls, which is also really important.
Yeah.
We have another program. These programs meet for 6 weeks, once a week, for either 2 to 2.5 hours. We also have a program called Healthy Eating for Successful Aging, which is another 6-week program. These are called evidence-based because they follow a very specific format and script, and they've been studied forever. So if people go to the classes, do the work, they will get the benefits. That's why they're called evidence-based.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of other short-term programs. One is called Honoring Choices. It's a statewide initiative to encourage all adults 18 years and up to have a healthcare proxy and a healthcare agent, and to hopefully write out a personal directive which tells their agent what to do if they have to make medical decisions.
Right.
These are workshops that we do about an hour to an hour and a half.
We had one at Pembroke, and you know, I feel the importance of that only because prior to working in Pembroke at the Council on Aging, I worked at what was Jordan Hospital, now Beth Israel Deaconess, in Senior Behavioral Health Center. So we did a lot of end-of-life conversations with families and with patients, and they can't come soon enough, those conversations. And you know, I always say to folks that if you know what you want, you may say to your child, or you may say, I told them everything, and I'm like, write it down, put it in paper, because at those crisis times they can say, this is mom's writing, this is her wishes.
That's right.
And also when you're talking to a couple of children, this one hears this one hears this.
That's right.
And then at that point, you know, there can be dissension.
That's
so
right.
I think the Honoring Choices program is just fabulous because it makes people realize how they can put this all together.
Yeah, a couple of things too. I mean, it's a lot easier to put this together when you're feeling really good and happy.
Yeah.
And something that many people don't realize is you don't have to see a lawyer to do a healthcare proxy. Lots of people don't have a healthcare proxy because they think they'll have to pay for it. You don't. All you need is a couple of witnesses. So we're trying to get that message out too.
Right.
And we all went through training for Honoring Choices, the Honoring Choices program. So we have 4 people who are able to go out in the community and talk to people.
Yeah.
And we are developing a very fun program called Eating on a Budget, Shopping at the Dollar Store.
That is hugely important.
It's huge. Well, what we did is we did a pilot in Brockton during Brockton Knocks Down Diabetes Week, and we went out to the Dollar Tree store, I think, and purchased 3 meals a day for 2 people for under $50.
Wow.
And it was a healthy menu too.
Good.
It was a healthy menu. So we're rolling that out. And you'll probably be getting a call from us soon because we'll want to schedule it at the Pembroke Council on Aging.
Yeah, I think that is really important because I think sometimes people get caught up with packaging.
Right.
And you know, you look at advertisements and, you know, kind of to manipulate all that down. Moving right along, because we are just like, our time is going by. I want to touch base. We did talk about Family Caregiver Support Program, but a little bit more about that. Who would benefit from that?
Okay, really anybody taking care of an older adult or a younger adult with disabilities. Spouse caring for spouse, adult children helping parents, friend caring for a friend. We define family very broadly. There are no income guidelines for this program and no age requirement for the caregiver. And our goals, what we want to do is make sure caregivers know all the resources in the community to help them, and also to make sure they know that they really should take care of themselves, and we help them with some techniques to do that. Some caregivers feel like they can't possibly have any time for themselves, but that's not really the case.
Right.
There are ways to figure it out, so that's what we do
And-
with that. And there's no charge for this
And
program.
is there a respite type program?
Yes, occasionally, not all the time, but
Okay.
there are times when we have funds available to provide respite for caregivers so that they can get away.
Okay.
Either have somebody come into the home or maybe have their loved one go to an assisted living facility for a week so that they can go somewhere. We don't always have funds for this, but we do occasionally. So that's something we talk about with caregivers when they're in the family caregiver
How
support
about access
program.
to durable goods?
We don't have durable goods available, but we certainly can make recommendations. In fact, I'll tell you an interesting story. I had a caregiver call me the other day because his wife's mother-in-law lives in Florida and they needed to bring her up here because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
But they needed some durable goods, so I was able to find him places that rented.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's all very important. Most of the COAs have a little closet full
Yeah,
of like
and-
walkers and
and-
wheelchairs, but the bigger items we always refer out to Etrusco or some-
Right.
Right.
And sometimes we do have money that we can help a caregiver purchase some durable
Yeah.
goods.
Wow. I was going to start to focus on some other things from Old Colony Elder Services, but your programs are fabulous.
Thank you.
I just want to let the folks know a little bit more. You talked about it being an ASAP, and it's regions throughout the state, every
Right.
region. Sometimes people will hear about South Shore Elder Services because that's kind of our borderline too.
That's right.
But it's towns are specific
That's correct.
to Old Colony Elder Services,
That's right.
and you have 23 towns
That's
that
right.
you oversee. Pretty much that mirrors with the Plymouth County and some of the edges of it.
Yeah, it's we go from Stoughton up in the northern area down to Wareham. There are some Plymouth County towns that we don't serve, but
Okay.
most of Plymouth County we do, and then Easton, Stoughton, and Avon. But if somebody calls us and they're not in one of our towns, we'll tell them exactly where to go.
Okay.
And
All right.
vice versa.
Wonderful. Well, Chris, thank you so very
Okay.
much for joining me. I just think that Old Colony Elder Services has a wealth of services in so many vast ways. So I guess the one thing I could say is if in doubt, call them and they'll be able to direct you to the right person.
That's right, and we feel the same about the Councils on Aging. We refer
you.
many people to the Councils on Aging.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.